Okay, so almost 2 months since people have seen my face.
The
Oh my gosh.
last time they saw your face was Internet Friends.
Yeah, so this episode is about what happened, where I went, what
Why Chris disappeared.
why Chris disappeared. Now, how much have I told you? Like I know I've told you
Just some stuff.
some stuff. So I'm gonna put the whole thing and out there and everyone can kind of be
I just didn't ask
in for a
questions.
ride.
I just didn't ask questions. I figured you'd tell me what you want to tell me, so.
Yeah, and now it's this far in, I've come to terms with everything that's happened. So there's a huge story here as to why I disappeared. So I'm going to start off with a few days after the Internet Friends episode was recorded. Um, uh, it was a couple days into school already for my kid at that point. He wasn't transitioning really well into kindergarten, and so that was additional stress. Now, I was already working from home, so I had the kids home with me all summer. So, of course, trying to work from home and do dad things the whole summer isn't exactly easy. So I had all this stress mounted up on me. Um, a random Tuesday, I don't even remember what day it was. It was like Tuesday, I want to say. Tuesday morning, I was like, I'm gonna walk the dog. I'm gonna jump online. Status quo for me. I normally walk the dog in the morning and then start logging in and doing my work. And so somebody from work called me while I'm walking the dog, and I had a conversation with him. And I noticed I'm like, dang, I'm really winded just from walking the dog. I'm like, this is weird. I'm not usually winded. So I took her for like a half mile walk. And like I come home, I'm sitting down and I'm like, oof, I catch my breath. And then like 15 minutes later, and I'm wearing my smartwatch, I feel like my heart rate jump for no reason. And I'm like, holy Jesus. And I look at my watch and it said my heart rate was 173 beats per minute. I'm like, oh my God. And of course, like I'm tensing up, I have chest pain and everything. And I'm like, well, no one's home, so nobody can keep an eye on me. And I was like, maybe I should go to the hospital. I was like, I don't know what's happening, but like, chest pain and elevated heart rate, not a great sign. So I literally go to my front door and I look outside and actually open it because of the way my house is made. Just looking out the front door, I can't see if neighbors are home. And like nobody around me is home. And I'm like, okay, great. My parents were out of town. I was like, so they can't bring me to the hospital. So I'm like, guess I get to call an ambulance. So I literally call an ambulance and I'm like losing signal at my house. Like the 911 dispatcher can't understand me. I'm like, great, I think I'm having a heart attack, and this guy can't even hear me to like send an ambulance. He can't even get my address. Um, I finally get him. I went outside. And so like he can finally hear me. He's asking for the address and he's asking me like symptoms and all this. So I end up like being like, okay, they're sending somebody. And he's like, well, if you have aspirin, go in and grab it. And I'm like, you want me to go all the way back inside when I can barely stand as it is? So I go back inside. I grab, I'm in not a great state of mind. I grab ibuprofen, not aspirin. He's like, is it the 81 milligram or I forget what the other one of aspirin is. It's like two something. I was like, or
220,
or three, no, or like 325 maybe. I can't remember.
something like
But
that.
he's like, so which one is it? I'm like, it's 200. He's like, that doesn't make any sense. That's not aspirin. I'm like, well, damn. And so eventually I'm like, where are they? I wasn't hearing like sirens and I'm not far from a dispatch. And I'm like, are they coming? He's like, yeah. And I hear them and they come. And at this whole point, this whole episode, like I can't even sit down. I can't sit still. Something's telling me to keep moving. And so they eventually come and I'm like, hey, I was like, I don't know what's happening. And they like try to get me to calm down enough to like be able to take vitals. And so I wasn't really able to calm down enough to take vitals. And they're asking me questions. And every time they ask me questions, I feel like it's getting worse. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting like more and more stressed out. And so eventually they calm me down enough. I legitimately had to ask. the paramedics for a hug to calm me down. Like nobody else was home. My neighbors weren't home. I was like, I need to calm down. And so one of them did. Shout out to that paramedic. Um, and they eventually calmed me down enough to ask me the question, like, okay, do you want to go to the hospital, or now that you're calming down, do you want to just stay home? And I'm like, you may as well bring me to the hospital. I was like against what I would normally do, which would be I'm going to stay home. I'll be fine. I'm like, bring me to the hospital. And so I was supposed to be on a meeting. I was supposed to host a meeting at work about 5 minutes prior to getting in that ambulance. And so I had like the wherewithal to like pull out my phone while I'm in the back of the ambulance. And I sent my boss Morgan a picture from the back of the ambulance, and the picture was my feet and the back of the ambulance door, and all I captioned it as was "we." And so she told me later that day that when I sent her the picture, her reaction was, fuck, shit. And my boss is never startled, and she was unmuted on the meeting. And her cover was, everything is fine after she said that. Um, so anyway, I go to the hospital. At that point, I've already come down. I'm more relaxed. The paramedics did a great job of just talking to me and keeping me calm. And so, of course, as soon as I come into the hospital, they do all the like a huge workup of blood, X-ray of my chest to make sure everything's fine. And from there, they literally had me sitting in an exam room. So it was like a 3 by 5 room. It was really, really small. And I was in there for, I want to say about 4 hours. And they did a little bit more blood work because one of the things came back saying it looked like I had a blood clot. And they're like, it can come back as a false negative or a false positive. So we're going to do it 2 more times. So they ran it 2 more times. Both were negative. And this whole time, like I still have my smartwatch on, my heart rate is still going up and down. And of course, the more I look at it, the more crazy it's going. I haven't eaten that day yet. I haven't really drank anything. The room was freezing. It was like a whole thing. And I'm the whole time I'm pacing back and forth in this little 5 by 3 room. And eventually the doctor finally comes in. He's like, here's some Xanax. I'm going to check on you in a couple minutes. And he comes back in a couple minutes and he's like, how do you feel? And of course, I felt more relaxed at that point. Um, he's like, listen, you have a history of depression and anxiety. It's probably that. Nothing really seems to be an issue. It looks like from an X-ray, you might have a slightly enlarged heart. We can't really tell on 2D imaging, so it might also be nothing. Um, and so they discharged me and ironically, I'd called my parents shortly before that to bring like a phone charger because my phone was about to die. I'm like, bring a charger. So thankfully, when they were on their way, I called them again. I was like, actually, I'm being discharged. So I get discharged and I'm still not feeling right. Of course, I haven't really eaten all day. And so I get discharged. I get home. I'm still feeling woozy and crazy. And so I ended up like telling Nicole everything that happened, my wife, and then my older son, kind of what was going on. Because I still wasn't feeling right. And of course, I really didn't have good answers. Just the doctor was like, hey, here's his Xanax, peace. And that was the end of it, which, by the way, um, was 5 hours after me getting to the hospital. It took them 5 hours to give me medication, to calm me down. Um, So that night, I end up having a 2 hour long conversation with my boss. I like filled her in with everything that was going on. We ended up talking about some work stuff, and it like brought me down for the night. I was actually able to get a decent amount of sleep. I think somewhere around 2 o'clock, they put me on medicine. I was supposed to take every 6 hours, and I'd taken it at 8 p.m. And I'm like, well, dang, I'm gonna have to be awake at 2 o'clock apparently to take this. Um, but like clockwork, my body woke up at like 1:55 in the morning. I'm like, guess I'm gonna go take my medicine. And at that point, I got on a Facebook Messenger. I saw my cousin was awake. I ended up talking with him for about an hour, and then I went back to bed. Um, next morning, I told my parents, I'm like, hey, I just want someone here to, look over me, make sure like nothing bad is happening. Next morning, they come over. They're getting Link on the bus and everything for me, and it starts happening again. And like my dad was there at that point. I'm like, yeah, I don't feel right. I was like, I'm extremely clammy. My heart's racing again. I was like, and I feel like I can't breathe. Let's call another ambulance. Yay. So they call another one. Um, and this time I get three paramedics. One of them was in training, and so they eventually calmed me down enough to get into the ambulance again, and I still wasn't feeling great. Like laying in the little gurney or bed or whatever you want to call in the back of the ambulance really shot up my anxiety. And I'm like, holy Jesus. And so the girl that was training was really good at talking to me. I actually like hardcore plugged JAMXP to this girl. So, hey, if you're listening, hey, I didn't forget about you. Um, so they bring me to the hospital. I'm waiting to be admitted. This time they asked if I wanted to go to the psychiatric help part, and they call it CPEP. And I was like, yeah, we may as well. I was like, if the previous doctor didn't really think anything as to where they were going to keep me, then it must have not been, a physical health issue. I'm like, go ahead and bring me up. And so shortly after I told them that, my boss was like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, actually, I'm going up. They're going to take all my stuff. So I'll update you whenever I get out of here. I don't know if it's going to be a couple hours. I don't know if it's going to be days or weeks. And so she goes, oh my God. And that was the last text message I sent or that I received was my boss saying, oh my God. Um, so I go up there. At this point, I'm already calm. Again, that those paramedics did a really good job. The one that was in training, and then there was another guy who is super into heavy music, and we ended up talking about heavy music and like Every Time I Die and As I Lay Dying, and we talked about everybody. And then the girl that was in training was into like Dashboard and like Yellow Card and everybody. So I had good music conversations with these people. So I go to this place, they admit me, they do vitals, and then they ask like a ton of questions like the amount of questions that they asked were absolutely insane. Um, they ended up putting me on two different medications. One, of course, just a regular old antidepressant, good times. And then the other one to help with anxiety. I'm sure other people listening have experienced this. They don't really like to do controlled substances anymore. So they like Xanax and Ativan, they're very hesitant to prescribe. So they prescribed me a really strong antihistamine that's supposed to make me tired and take away anxiety. Um, little hint for everybody, it does not relieve anxiety, but it makes you able to breathe really well, as you can imagine. It's like an extra strength antihistamine. So like Benadryl times two or three, depending on the dose they give you. And so yeah, I've been on that for a while now. I was not able to function in any capacity from Tuesday, so the day I first went, through Saturday. I was absolutely not able to function. I was getting hit with a spoiler alert for what's happening because I didn't say it was essentially severe panic attacks and probably stress induced. Um, so I was getting hit with one at the beginning, like seriously once an hour, once every 2 hours. And then through that week, they dissipated and it was less and less. The last time I was hit with one that week was Saturday. I was like, I want to try and get out of the house. I was like, Tuesday to Friday, I was just in the house. If I had a panic attack, I had to go outside and walk it off because my body's response was to walk. And at some point during one, I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I'm talking about Saturday. That Thursday, I had such a bad one. My body tensed up so much that I pinched a nerve in my left shoulder. And so I had extreme nerve pain for approximately 2 weeks. It took about 2 to 3 chiropractor visits to get the pain to subside. My entire left side, my neck, my face, my jaw, my arm, my hand started going numb. Um, so the chiropractor relieved that, thank goodness. But that was awful for about 2 weeks. Anyway, the last time that I ended up having one, within that week was Saturday. Um, and I was like, I want to get out of the house. There was a little festival going on nearby, and I told my wife, I'm like, let's go. Let's just try and get me out. I'll try and suffer through. I can't just sit at home this whole time. And we were getting ready to leave, and I was like, I want food. And I don't know if it was because it was super hot and I hadn't ate or drank that much, but it started hitting me. And I'm like, we gotta leave because I really don't want to go through this here. And so we get to the car, and I thought I was going to drive home at first. And I told Nikki, I'm like, nope, you drive home. So we do a quick switch. Nikki drives home. And then my last one lasted for like 2.5 hours. So when I got home, I didn't even realize it was that long. It was 2.5 hours. Um, if I'm lagging video, gonna have to deal with it. Hopefully it doesn't come up like that. So anyway, uh yeah, so that was the last really strong one. We ended up having friends come over on Sunday. Um, and they that helped me having friends come over. I had a friend on that Friday. He brought his convertible over. He took me out for a cruise and we had some fun. Um, so it has subsided a decent amount at this point. I'm 4 weeks into medication, so I'm right at the part where it starts working the best. It's not completely gone, not by a long shot. My primary issue now is like tension. It definitely starts as muscle tension. Um, it's not easy to ignore either because the first place that I normally get muscle tension is in the chest, and it makes you immediately start spiraling. Um, so since then, since that Saturday, it's only happened twice. So that's been a huge relief. It's definitely on the downswing, I think. Um, to the points to where I'm able to function a lot better. I'm actually able to go out now. The last one I had, gosh, I want to say it was last week at some point, but it actually woke me up at like 2 or 3 or 4 a.m. It was mid hours of the morning. But I got through it super quick. I mean, we're talking, I was going from hours upon hours to just 20 minutes. So, not that a 20-minute panic attack is fun, but um, ironically, through all this, I hadn't worked out. So I was like, I got to take it easy on my body. Actually, through going through all this, because my body's reaction was to walk, I had lost like 8 pounds and I wasn't hungry during any of this either. I could barely eat. Um, and so I lost like 8 pounds. And then I was finally like, okay, I'm finally eating. I'm going to start working out again. And then last week I injured my foot. So I can't even work out now. I don't know how I injured my foot. It was either through the elliptical. I was wearing too thin of shoes, and it's got like the ridges on the foot pedals. And either my foot was on in one of the ridges on the ball of my left toe, and I injured it, or I had woken up. I want to say it was Wednesday and a Thursday or Thursday and a Friday. I can't remember. And I'd fallen asleep on the couch. And when I woke up, my foot was jammed into the armrest of the couch. And when I went to walk to bed, at that point, my foot was hurting. So it was from one of the two.
Or you're just getting older.
Or I am just getting older. It's definitely a possibility. Um, so I ended up going actually the day that we're recording this, I went this morning to an orthopedic specialist and a podiatrist, and they're essentially like tendonitis in your foot. There was no fracture, no stress fracture. He's like, I'm gonna blow it up really close and look. He blew it up. He's like, I don't see anything, but I want you to treat it like it's a stress fracture. He's like, keep off of it, wear shoes all the time. Um, and that's where I'm at. So the only thing I can really do, I try not to walk on it as much as possible. I have crutches that my friend lent me, so I am able to get around. But the only other movement that I'm really doing aside from hobbling around on a crutch is the exercise bike. That's the only exercise that I read that I could do with this, and the podiatrist confirmed that. So that's where I've been. I took it really, really easy for about a month. We were supposed to record last week, and I ended up having an episode, and I was like, let's wait another week. Um, and yeah, I've been good. I think that was Tuesday. We were going to record Wednesday,
Yes,
but I think Tuesday night it ended up happening to me, and I was like, let's wait. And I've been ever since then. I've been okay. Um, but that's where I've been. Essentially, I'm trying to learn to take a step back when I need to. Um, it's funny. I had a conversation with friend of the podcast, Lisa from Stereotherapy, just about like what was going on in life before all this happened. And she's like, you got to step back from something. I was like, she told me, she's like, tell Jess you need a couple episodes where it's just her. I was like, no. I was like, no, I want to be there. I'm every bit a part of this is Jess. I 100% should be there. And in retrospect, I probably should have, as well as like telling work, like, hey, I got to step back from a couple things that are like purely voluntary. But yeah.
you're
So
not
so
Superman.
no, so long story short, stress-induced panic and anxiety is brutal. It took a really, really big toll on me. Like I said, um, all the stress and like tension in my shoulders still isn't gone. And now that I'm using crutches, it's not making it any better. As a matter of fact, it's gotten a lot worse over the last couple days from using the crutches. But thankfully, I have a chiropractor appointment tomorrow. So
They can relieve that tension.
a little bit of it. I still haven't been able to find a massage therapist that's decently priced in the area, but I need some of that too. But that's where I've been, everybody. I
Yep,
don't
and
know.
I let them take that time off because that's what you do.
Yeah,
Got to take care of you.
yeah. I'm always the person to put everybody else in front of me. It's been extremely hard for anybody else who's gone through this. Um, it's been hard to take a step back if you're the type of person who always takes charge and like wants to get X, Y, and Z done and like has a packed schedule. Like even during my work day, like I'm sitting there like, okay, I'll have time to exercise. I'll have time to take the dog. I can get the laundry done here. Then I can edit a video of the podcast, and then I have these meetings and I cram everything in. Like even with like household chores and like taking on extra stuff at work, or somebody has a question and I have to divert to that person at work. Um, yeah, to take a step back and be like, hey, I need everyone to actually take care of something for me is really hard. Telling my wife, like, hey, I can't do all this stuff. I need so much help with it. And even being more realistic at work has been hard. Even honestly, the hardest part about all of this is being more realistic with Jess right now. And telling her like, yo, I actually can't do this. I can't log in. I can't record stuff right now. I'm not in a good place for it. That's been the hardest part because this is purely for us a passion project. We like doing this. We like talking with people and meeting people and sharing the music, and to have to step back from it was pretty hard. Because this is one of the few things that is solely for me. You know what I mean? For me and you,
Yeah.
and nobody else. I mean, I love that people listen. I love that. Um, I'm sure Z is listening to this right now. Um, you know, uh, it's been hard, and she's followed up with me a bunch. So it was great to see um, the pouring of love from people. I saw the post that Jess posted for JAMXP saying I was going to be out for a while, and the love we got from that. So I appreciate all of you. I do want to give a little bit of a heads up too to everybody. Not that you weren't seeing a lot of me on social media before, but you're going to see less of me on social media still. The only thing that is going to go back onto my phone for social media, I've decided, is the JAMXP account for Instagram. That's it. I'm not putting Facebook or personal Instagram back on my phone. Um, so that's going to be the primary way to interact with me. Um, I do get on social media, don't get me wrong, but it's via a computer. That's it. I won't log in on my phone. I won't even go on my browser on my phone to log in. I think it was Friday, that first Friday. I noticed that I was spending way more time on my phone to try and distract myself from everything that was going on. And I made a conscious effort. I'm going to focus on mindfulness over distractions. And so I didn't, it's not just social media. I removed Instagram, Facebook. I removed the news applications from my phone. I removed like anything that I was frequently checking. I removed games that I was playing on my phone. So I wanted to focus more on being mindful and actually working through the issue instead of distracting myself from having another panic attack and just having it snowball. And it's actually been really great for that. My anxiety and phone use has dropped a ton. Um, the one thing I do miss is being able to connect with friends more often on Facebook. Like there's people I just connected with by going to my reunion and everything. So that does suck to some extent, because I'm not as constantly active and I can't interact with everybody. But if they want to get a hold of me, I still got Facebook Messenger on my phone. They can still contact me through there. So,
Yep. Gotta take care of you first.
yeah, that's where I've been. I mean, holy shit, I gotta turn my heater off. Hold on a second.
It's okay. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. So,
I am sweating. Holy shit. But yeah, that's the long of it. And if you listen to one of our earlier episodes, where we talked with stereotherapy, you'll know that I've gone through anxiety and depression stuff in the past, and this was a whole new level, and that's what I told the paramedics and the people in the hospital and the doctor and at in CPAP. I was like, I've had issues with anxiety before. I've had what I thought were panic attacks. I was like, this is a whole new, like what I experienced times 10. Um, having moments where you think you can't breathe and you have to focus super hard on just the fact that, oh, wait, I actually can breathe. I'm fine. It's my brain playing a trick on me. Like it was so hard to deal with. It was hard to get through, but um thankfully I've got friends, Jess has checked up on me, numerous times. I had a friend in California who went through um medical schooling, but due to her own health issues, she's never finished or practiced. She's walked me through a ton of stuff when I had that issue with attention originally, when I was having that one attack and I was walking outside and I got that pain, it was so severe and the words literally out of my mouth was like something's not right. And I started to walk back home because I was like, oh, it's time for another ambulance, LOL. But I had the forethought to call my friend. I was like, hey, this is what's happening. This is what it feels like. Is the real true reason for concern? She's like, it's tension. She knew immediately. She's like, nope, that's going to be tension. She's like, focus for a second because I know you're in the middle of a panic attack. She's like, do you also feel it on the right side? I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay, yeah, tension. And she's like, if it gets worse instead of getting better, then yeah, call an ambulance. She's like, but otherwise it sounds like tension. And the thing that gave it away for her was that I had pressure up above my ear. She's like, if you didn't mention that to me, then it would be more concerning. But the fact that there's like nerve in the tension and it terminates up above your ear, with some of the muscles and nerve, she's like, tension. So that actually immediately got me to calm down. But yeah, it hasn't been fun, guys. I wouldn't have left if I didn't need to. Um,
but you're back now, and
I'm back.
hopefully you're
Woo.
back for a bunch of different episodes. But I mean, if you still need to step back, I'm perfectly fine taking the reins.
Yeah, we've got some good stuff coming up.
We do. We do have some
Um,
good stuff coming up.
and we'd have another good one if someone would get back to us. Um, um,
There's a couple we need to get back to us.
there are a couple. Um, I'm sure he's not listening, but James from Savior, I see all your messages. I will get back to you. I swear. He has sent me quite a few emails. But that's where I've been. I mean,
Life happened.
life happened, and that's there's so much more I could go into with all that, but I don't think we want a 2 hour episode of
Probably not. Probably not. Although you never know. Never know. We've gone pretty long on some of our episodes.
we've gone fairly long on a few of them, and I'm seriously looking at the my picture right now. You can see the tension in my shoulder still. My
Yeah,
left shoulder is significantly higher than my right, and it's been like that ever since that one. Didn't I send you the picture?
I don't know.
I took a picture in the mirror right after it happened.
Oh yeah,
Of
I
it.
think you did
I
send me
I took a
that.
selfie. I'm like, holy crap, look at this tension in my shoulder. But yeah, no, it's been. I think this is primarily from crutches because it was better,
Yeah, it
and
could
then
be. Crutches
now
can do a
because
number on you as well.
I mean you're putting that up in your armpit and like even you're either supporting yourself with your hands on
Maybe you
that
need a
middle
cane
part.
instead, you know.
Hey, listen, I know that they're cheap at thrift stores, so I have thought about it. But then I'm like, oh, is it just a dead person's cane? And that's really sad. And
Well, I mean, yes and no. Maybe it's just someone that needed a cane for a while and then they had to donate it because they didn't need a cane anymore.
that's true.
Just
But
think of it that way.
no, it is getting better. I'm able to walk more on my foot now.
Get you a pimp cane.
A pimp cane. Or one of those canes with a sword in it.
Yeah, you can get your hidden sword cane. So while you're walking on the road taking walks, if anyone tries to jump you, you got a weapon.
I should get a JAMXP branded cane.
Oh gosh.
Maybe they have them where you can get them custom and it's like Bluetooth. So it's a JAMXP Bluetooth cane. That would be great.
Someone donated a cane once. It had a flashlight and alarm on it. So when you push this button, it's all like wee wee, like if it's like if you fall and you can't get up, I guess.
That's great though. That's
It was super loud. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. We get some interesting canes in. Now we're talking about canes. See, this is what I missed though during
it's
interviews.
the
Our
random stuff,
banter.
right?
Our
Right?
banter.
Not the same. I didn't watch yours and Andre's episode. Actually, to be honest, I haven't watched any.
Probably
Um,
not. You're like,
I've
oh, I don't want to watch just Jessica talk.
no, no,
I'm not
no.
on there. No, it's good.
I've watched two of our episodes.
Yeah.
Personally, I've watched two of our own episodes. That was Conquer Divide and Sam Tabor. Those are the only two I've personally watched.
I mean, technically I watch them, but it's more so when I'm editing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let me clarify. I'm not counting when I edit. I'm saying once it's the finished product, I've gone back and watched Conquer Divide and Sam Tabor. Those are the only two that I've gone back. That about 50% of senses as well.
Yeah.
So
I don't think I've rewatched any of them.
and about 50% of LOL it's Leah.
Yeah.
So
So yeah,
yeah, I'm back.
Chris is back. And if he
Woo!
still and if he needs to not do an interview, then I'll just do it by myself. It's not a big deal.
And to clarify with everybody, the one with Andre, I told her to do it with Andre. She asked me if it was okay, and I said absolutely 100% talk with somebody who knows a lot more about Story of the Year than I do.
And it was cool. And it was fun. And Andre and I had a good time chatting
Maybe I should go back and watch that. I'd like to see you guys talk.
about Story of the Year, your favorite band ever.
My all-time favorite band, 100%. Um,
No, we did talk about you though. I mentioned this. I think I was talking about your favorite band, which is like Silverstein, and I couldn't remember the band of the other band that's from
which,
like New York.
State Champs,
No,
Every Time I Die?
yeah, them. That they're not a band anymore.
No, they're not.
And I couldn't remember. I'm like, it's some band that's not a band anymore. And I was like, it was on the tip of my tongue, and I couldn't remember it. So
Yeah, yeah. Every Time I Die.
now I remember. That's who it was.
I mean, I only have like three tattoos inspired by them
Only.
only.
I mean, I don't have any tattoos, so
Not definitely not inspired by Story of the Year.
I
Oh
would
wait,
have one if
first of
I
all,
had tattoos, but
I notice you're back in your bedroom.
I am back in my bedroom, yes.
So they patched it up good, huh?
No, it's technically patched, but not properly. And then they came in and did the texture on the walls, and I have two-tone walls now because they still haven't painted. And I gave up and I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna live with a non-painted wall because I want to be in my damn bedroom again.
Get a really cool poster that you can put in a 90-degree angle in the corner and cover up the patch.
Uh, you have no idea how much white paint is on my ceiling right now. That's not in an area they should have even touched.
I really loved the video of the guy taking down your trap that you sent me.
Yeah.
That I don't even have words for how unprofessional the guy looked.
Oh, yes.
Um,
He was super professional. Super professional at doing a half-ass job.
that was even half-assed. He looked like he was like
He half-assed the
disgusted and
half-ass job.
scared. Yeah, it was quarter. But
But yes, no, I'm back in my bedroom. I've been back in my bedroom, I think, since I did an interview a few weeks ago. Yeah. So, since I did my interview with Enemy, Brady from Enemy, I think I've been back in my bedroom. Because I was like, I'm gonna do it, damn it. I don't want to be in this kitchen anymore. So, well, there you have it, everyone. Now you know what happened with Chris and where he's been.
now I'm back and you gotta deal with me again.
Yep, you gotta deal with him again. Actually, you gotta deal with us and our banter again. But everyone loves our banter.
Here go the views.
I don't know. The views might have been hurting without you.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. Just depends.
Just depends.
Social media.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll get back on that game. Uh, um, and
Yeah. Well,
everybody
that
tell
does it
your
for this
friends.
episode. And everyone, tell your friends about this episode if they're dealing with situations like Chris has been dealing with. And they need
Yeah,
someone to know that other people are out there dealing with the same kind of things.
for sure. It's good to know. It's always the people you least expect that are also going through it. So, um, yeah.
And if you need help, ask for help. Doesn't make you a weak person.
Nope. Just stubborn if you don't.
Well, majority of people in this world are stubborn.
Yeah, including me.
Yep.
So don't be
Well,
like me. Don't be stubborn.
don't be like Chris. Don't be stubborn. Find help if you think you need help.
Definitely reach out to somebody, anybody.
Anyone,
Um,
your best friend, someone you don't even know. If you want to talk to a stranger, sure, call a number. There's plenty of numbers out there you can call.
yep.
So that
All right,
does it for
everybody.
this episode then.
Bye.
Bye bye.